Okay, this is Fable 3. It's set 60 years further on. This is Bowerstone. There's Bowerstone Castle from Fable 2, but it's really changed. And what's changed is Albion has now got a king. And he's called Logan, and he's this evil tyrant of a king. He has turned all the beautiful lush fields into industrial wastelands. There's a lot of, and if you run forward now, Dimitri, there's a lot of poverty in Albion. There's a lot of children that are sent to work. There's a lot of injustice. And you, the player, come into this world as a rebel. You're going to bring people together and you're going to rebel against this tyrant king called Logan, and you're going to overthrow him. And once you've overthrown him and defeated him, and once the people who are following you have defeated this evil king, you are then going to be king yourself. And then you, as a player, should ask yourself, well, I'm about halfway through the game. What do I want my world to be like? I like these industrial places. I'm going to get more people to go to work. I'm going to have more children working harder. I don't care about the people. Or are you going to have a land of Albion, which is where there is no starvation, where children go to school rather than go to work? And that's the first interesting thing about Fable 3. What's interesting is that we want you to feel power. We want you to feel what it's like to be in control. And that's what we all want, isn't it? We all want to be in control. And so we're giving you this ability to rule Albion, the Albion that you've played in Fable 1 and Fable 2. The next thing that we're doing to you, if it's all about the power of rule, how can I really reinforce that? So we've got this new mechanic in the game called touch. And it's a very simple idea. Imagine that I could reach out with my arm at any point and touch somebody. How would that change the game and how you feel about the game? So let's take an example for that. That's the person we just saw there was my wife. She has said that our daughter is lost in the streets of Bowerstone. She's really worried. And sure enough, we just come over the hill here, and there's my daughter here, and she's just playing with some other kids. Now I'm going to tell her off. I'm going to use one of my expressions to actually tell her off. So let's tell her off now. You can see her looking. Are we telling off? Yeah, we're just telling her off. The other kids are going to run away, and I've really upset her. So let's just comfort her a little bit and see how she feels. If I just give her a hug, I can do this because she's my daughter, and I'm hugging her. You're starting to get this feeling of what touch means. Touch means that it's under your control what relationship you have with people. So let's take this one further. At any time, I can use the right hand trigger to hold someone's hand, and I can guide her around. Now this is equivalent in Fable 1 and Fable 2 and many other games of going up to a character and pressing A to do one action or B to do another action. But with this, now I've got this touch mechanic, I've got her there and she's in my hand. And she is still a fully fledged, artificially intelligent driven character. So for example, if I go near this pub, you should hear her say, or maybe it's a bit quiet. No, you can't hear it because it's too quiet. You can hear that she'll actually talk. So let's go over this bridge. Do you think my mum's made tea? Completely AI-driven character. So that's one example of what touch is it's very charming, it's very lovely. Meeting somebody, and if you just zoom off Dimitri now to the beggar moment, it's very, I don't know if you can, I think you need to complete it with her. It's very lovely, it's very charming, it's very endearing. But touch is so much more than that, because it's about you dominating people. It's about what it feels like when you're king, for example. Imagine you were king, and someone came to you and they said something that wasn't very nice to you. Now, in the old way of doing it, you could press A to throw them in the dungeons or B to let them off. But with touch, being able to pick them up by the scruff of the neck and drag them and throw them physically in the dungeon, because this is you doing it and there is time for you to feel the emotion of doing that, it really means a lot. So let's take that example now and let's just go around the streets. I'll wait for my wife to finish her talking to our daughter. So here we've got, this is a beggar. He's asked for some money. You know, that was in Fable 1 and Fable 2. So what I'm going to use is touch now, and to reach out my hand towards him. And I'm leading him. And he says, oh, you're taking me home to dinner. I'm actually going to sell him to a factory. Now, as soon as he gets the idea of me selling him to a factory, you can see he starts pulling away from him. I'm dragging him, he's begging for mercy. How does that make you feel as a player, having to do that? Saving people, dominating people, it's all about the power of what that is. Okay, let's move on. And we'll leave him in the factory, and now we'll move on and look at some combat. So the combat in Fable 3 is radically changed. Josh Atkins, one of the world leaders in combat, has been overhauling the system. It's completely changed. But one of the new features we've got is the ability for you to craft your own weapons. So this hammer didn't start off looking like this. The shape of this hammer is down to the creatures that you've killed. What's on the hammer is down to what creatures you've killed. The size of the hammer, the weight of the hammer is all based upon what you have done with that hammer. That means within Fable 3 you can craft your own weapons, not by some other detached gameplay mechanic, but you craft your own weapons by actually using those weapons. And that then, if you craft them well enough, it starts unlocking new functionality with that weapon. So Josh will now show some of the more dramatic moves. This incidentally is one of the new morphs that we've got. It's called Extreme Morphs, and it shows you how powerful that you are. So I really love this idea of crafting our own weapons. I really love the idea of being able to see a hammer grow as you grow as a player. I really love the idea that that applies to guns and to objects like rings for you to morph.